But we are ready to move here into game 2, or at least into the picks and bans, see if Dignitas can find a way to bounce back after that tough loss.
And knowing Dignitas, they're usually, once they lose one game, it's difficult for them to really bounce back. But considering this is still the beginning of the summer split, they found that 2-1 victory over Rival. As long as they clean up their picks and bans a little bit on top of this, because the Raw was an interesting idea, right? They banned away the Giannis, they banned away the Thoth. Let's see what Yammyn kind of plays, but similar idea behind the way Rival played with Wolfie playing the Raw, NRG doing the same thing.
Well, already Raw and Nemesis have been banned out by Dignitas, a direct response. We didn't even get a chance to talk about how well Adapting played that game on the Nemesis, constantly harassing Arkkyl and Zyrhoes. An excellent job by him, so I like this by Dignitas. Try and force Energy to go somewhere else.
Athena first pick yet again for Dignitas, trying to make that global pressure happen. Variety needed to defend that Titan at the end of the game, but he used his Defender of Olympus to try to deal more damage. The call was that they wanted to end, but they felt like they didn't have the damage, and as a result of failing that, their Titan was just too vulnerable to defend. Even with Qvo there, he wouldn't be able to defend against 3 NRG members.
It's not going to be quite enough as Artemis locked in. Energy very likely giving that back over to emilitoo. But this time, Yammyn gets the Thoth. I believe this was banned away from him there in game 1, but this time we'll get to see him on a big long-range damage dealer. Gonna cause problems for Dignitas.
I like this Odin pick, considering that it will lock down these 2 late-game hyper carries, Thoth and Artemis, not having those jumps or leaps or escapes. Energy needs a Phantom to deal with it, but the problem is Dignitas hasn't really played a lot of Odin in the past in history, so it's not really their style, so they need to make sure that they get off to a pretty good mid-game.
Well, we'll see where it is they want to go at that, as Zyrhoes is almost certainly going to be playing this Discordia pick. It's one he really likes to play, and he plays it so well. Gets plenty of damage out of it, tons of control as well with that Strife hitting onto multiple members, and then the Apple can get a good cripple effect out there as well to try and set up for the rest of the team. I expect Zyrhoes will be doing this very, very well.
It should be the case, considering that the Discordia not only has a lot of control, but also on top of that, you're looking for the passive boost, so any sort of dual lane skirmish could easily favor Dignitas if they can pick off the Shibalanke the same way they did in the last game and get that early game pressure, allow Arkkyl that slight edge over Emil.
Next pick is going to be Kukulin for Energy. Very much likely going over to the solo lane, though we've seen some Kukulin supports come out kind of recently here in Europe, so that does have some flex potential. Then there's the Ratatoshka and the Rom that they're banning away from Dignitas. Meanwhile, Dignitas ban away the Geb and the Unbots. Don't want to have to worry about those big team fight ults.
I love the Susanoo pick for Adapting. This is a high light play god. You're really looking to get into the thick of things. And if there's anyone that wants sort of aggression, it's definitely going to be Adapting. Wouldn't be surprised to see if he goes for an early blink, but against an Athena and a Dodgy, might want to play it safe with the beats.
We've been seeing a little less Dajin now. She was very popular towards the beginning here of Season 5, but still brings tons of control. The Palau's so good at burning beads. You know who else is pretty good at burning beads is Athena. When you put those two together, someone's getting pulled somewhere.
Fafnir to wrap things up on Energy side for the extra boost of attack speed on an Artemis is never a bad thing. Stack up those passives a little bit faster to get the critical strike chance, and also burn some of these objectives with a Coerce. Thaw, Final Judgment, Fafnir, Coerce. Energy has a good composition for objectives.
Now, this is a pick that EmilZy really likes because there's still tons of good Guardians that are available, so it feels like he's going to something that he really enjoys playing personally, because it doesn't have, it's not like with a double hunter, so there's like an overabundance of synergy here. It just feels like sort of a pick that EmilZy really just wants to play.
And you know, not going to be playing the Cerberus and trying to augment that Thoth damage.
Right.
Thoth is going to be doing enough damage in its own right, trying to get the attack speed for the Artemis.
All right, well, totally sounds like the casters are standing by, so I'm going to ask you, you think Energy can 2-0 this one, or can Dig start to beat Energy finally?
I think Energy has a great late game draft between the Thoth and the Artemis. If Adapting gets off early with the Susanoo, I'm worried for Dignitas.
Well, let's see if that is how it ends up working. We'll go ahead and let the casters take this one away.
Thanks a lot, Finch and Tolly. Talking a little bit more about that, Tom, they mentioned, you know, Susanoo might be the big focal point here for Adapting, but then again, Dodgy for QvoFred could answer that back.
I like the Dodgy selection. Sure, you guys are looking in the jungle. I'm looking at wherever Odin is. Odin has been the Achilles heel to Thoth players for a while now. He kind of sunk under the radar for a minute, and Thoth was just omnipotent. But watching Odin come out, I think is a powerful pick against the character.
Funny enough, when you actually mentioned the Thoth there, as you guys get to vote now on who you think will win this game, the Thoth in the mid lane is going to have a lot of focus. Dodgy going to be able to dive to the back after the dash. Odin and the Athena, I believe. All three of those are very good at getting to that Thoth. Yammyn that's where I think we're looking at for NRG here. It's all on Yammyn.
Absolutely. The Susano has been very, very strong right now, specifically not here. In ranked, Susano's actually really crushing it. In competitive, he does really well. He's kind of like a poor man's Athena, I feel. He doesn't get the taunt, but he gets the pull. And that can be just as devastating because basically you're putting somebody into the line of fire. And that can be very, very powerful at the energy level.
Into game, and already a little bit of a grouping from NRG looking at a pick on the left-hand side. No doom and gloom, though, because I did hear the suppress the incident. Oh, no, sorry, the banified by Arkkyl, and Trixtank took the leap, and they're not going to be upset about that because that's the natural level 1 abilities they're going to want to take.
Exactly. Sometimes you do see the support Odins go for the Gungir's Might first, the third ability for the slow, but that's usually in a very niche scenario. And these days, right now, a big part of the game, the duo lane game, is starting off with that tier 3 sprint. So it's just going to negate the slow from the Gungears anyway.
And that is a little mini game, a mind game between the two supports too, because sometimes you're trying to guess whether or not they're going to go for it. If they do, you should as well, just to make sure you can have the same weight in these engagements.
I don't...
It really is.
I mean, you have the support mentality more than I.
That's kind of the way it is. It's like if you don't have it and then you lose a trade and they try and run you down, it's like, well, that feels bad.
Because the escape power of both versions are relatively similar. It's the offensive version that you get.
And then that means you can run the risk of you losing a free kill in the lane, which is a big impact. So if you don't have that and you get that opportunity, then you're like, man, the hunter gets upset with you, at least in the casual sense. I mean, a professional level is a completely different story where they'll talk about it a lot more in detail.
Arkkyl doesn't really... Arkkyl is a really big part of this Team Dignitas squad. Off the field, not necessarily off the field, but mentally, I mean, outside of mechanics, because he is so much different than the rest of these guys. Zyrhoes is a hothead. QvoFred can be a hothead, and so can Variety. Trixtank is serious, but has a lot of fun with it. Arkkyl, chill, bruh. That's what you get from Arkkyl all the time, and I think he really balances out this Team Dignitas group.
You've got to find a mentality amongst the team where you've got to have all those sort of personalities come together somehow, and like you need a quieter member of the team to have a loud member of the team. It's just natural balance.
And it's not even that he's quiet; it's just that he's very he's just okay with how things work. Arkkyl will make his voice known. He will make calls, and he will say, "I don't agree with this XYZ." He's not a complete just walk over me guy, but he knows how to keep it chill, how to keep it cool, calm, collected, and the Frenchman really provides an important atmosphere for Team Dignitas.
Now, NRG on the other side of the coin, they've found game 1, which is an important victory for them, but they're not going to be happy with their lack of performance in spring. Not making land is not something they used to have happen to them either. Obviously, since the World Championship days, they've had a couple of roster changes now. Ninja Dimmy, once upon a time.
Wow.
What? Ninja Dimmy?
Ninja Dimmy.
I don't know why I was thinking Ninja when I said his name. That's why I said it. But Dimmy, once upon a time in the solo lane, then replaced by maniaKK after Dimmy chose to retire. And now, you know, Rafa out and EmilZy in. A lot of changes to this NRG squad on paper. As strong as ever. But they're still trying to find form now in summer before the World Championships in fall.
I'm still sticking to what I said early on before the spring split started. NRG and Obey's traded supports, and I said that NRG was going to be better out of the gate, but once Obey collected themselves and adjusted to the way Rafa plays the game, I think that Obey will be better off in the long run. And looking at what Obey did just early this week, I know, small sample size. Well, I'm seeing that, man.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, to be my personal opinion, I thought NRG would have been ones that struggled first in spring, not that of Obey. It's the other way around. As NRG got off to a good start. And talking about a good start in this game as well, they're going to get the beats out early from Quvo. Good turn from Variety onto maniaKK to eat quite a bit of damage there. Everyone's starting to realize how much that damage clear that Variety has can come in handy.
I love early game Athena. I really do love early game Athena. Level 4, actually. Can we hover on Variety? I want to see how he's leveling his abilities. If he has 2 points in that shield wall, he does a lot. What we'll see, usually not at 4, but maybe at level 6 or so. 2 points in Confound, the taunt. Actually, that guarantees the double hit of shield wall. With only 1 point in it, you got to be really crafty to get the initial hit and the secondary.
And solo is a little bit of a different beast to that of support, because the trade-off in support is, do you need the extra wave clear to help clear camps on your own and get that experience, or do you want that extra taunt to make sure it lasts longer? In the solo lane, It's kind of like when you want the wave clear.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
But you also want poke.
Absolutely. You're not looking to completely level this the taunt. You're looking to put 2 points in it and then move on. Sort of like other abilities that you do that with.
You said that because you can't think of one, right? Not a single ability you can think of you put 2 points in?
New minions is 3. New minions is 2. Opwash corpses is 3.
We said you used Nuwa and Arpwash as the other examples. Wow.
Those are the examples.
Okay.
Opwash has 1 corpse at level 1. You've got to get it to level 3 to get 2 corpses. And when it comes down to Nuwa, you got to get to level 2 to get 2 with a little soldier.
I don't see Arpwash that much in the Pro League, so I don't care about
Yet.
Yet. Well, hopefully never.
Yet.
Hopefully never.
So, Opwash recently got some love.
No.
Not on this patch, this is 5.8, but next week we'll see the players on 5.9. Opwash will have some additional damage on his corpse explosions, sand to corpses, which means the only problem that this character really has in all reality is the lack of early wave clear. You give him some early wave clear, he's able to be used. Well, why would I still pick Opwash? He's still Opooch. Guess what? We're approaching a healing meta. Who spanks healers? Opwash, baby!
Sure, but he doesn't escape very fast, does he?
No, but he drops all the damage. He's Zeus material at that point. You drop the ult, you drop the 3, you drop the 1, you drop the opponent.
Well, no opponents dropped in this game so far.
I just got on my Opwash.
I know you didn't. I'm like, let's just bring that back in because nobody wants to talk more about Opwash. I don't want to see him meta because it's going to be hell on earth for everybody.
We miss you, Dry Bear.
maniaKK up against Variety again, and Variety just trying to get back to the wave to continue farming up, takes a bit more free poke. Can't find the taunt that time, but the shield wall was on the mark. Zyrhoes in the mid lane, more than likely going the Soul Reaver. I'm never going to say Book of Thoth anymore, because as I said last game, if he goes for the Soul Reaver, I'm putting Book of Thoth to bed for a while.
It's like me with the mouse composition the other day. They had a normal composition, and I said clearly Cirquette's going to go in the jungle and Athena's going support.
You were wrong.
And Cherio wound up on the Athena, and Dardes wound up on the Cirquette. So I don't do that anymore.
So far in this game, though, everyone actually even. Outside of maybe Arkkyl with a hair bit of a lead in that duo lane, which is quite surprising considering nothing else has really gone on in this. He's just doing a better job of farming than that of emilitoo, who's trying to catch up now by taking that red buff, though, in the jungle, so that could even things up a little bit more. Big backbone of this game, though, Tom. Yammyn, we've been mentioning it. It's all around this Toth.
Right. I mean, he's the artillery cannon for the mid lane.
And actually, talk about that artillery cannon. He's trapped in a ring already. Bird bomb onto the bird, and the bird going to turn around and stun. But Variety's ultimate is beautiful. Solo and Guardian combine, but they just ignored adapting and emilZy. This is the problem Dignitas are having against NRG. They just fully focus one member, and then the other members of NRG run rampant.
I mean, yes, that is what happened in this scenario.
It happened last game.
Sure, but that's like saying you shouldn't move at a green light because you might get hit by a car running through the red. That was the right call. Focus on Yammyn. Jump on the bird. Do that. NRG just responded by breaking the rules and rotating hyper early. Just a better play by NRG to respond to a great play by Dig.
NRG went deep for that goal, so for that speed buff, and adapting stole the speed, and Kivo will laugh at him saying that's what you get for taking the speed. And emilZy also hung around with adapting to help get that speed buff. He will survive for now, though, but took a bit more damage than bargained for.
Yeah, Trixtank already putting out a ton of damage. And again, buying the Talaria boots. I love Talaria boots. We don't see them enough. 25% movement speed, period, end of story. Thank you.
You see it most of the time in the supports. It's mainly when you see it on a warrior. That's the real one, especially in Odin.
Yep.
Being able to just get in range without having to use blink or sprint or your leap can be really key. Zyrhoes has caught emilZy there. Got a bit more damage over the wall as well. And actually, Trixtank waiting. emilZy's got to time this.
Oh, yeah, nice job.
Had to time it well, because any earlier, Trix would have left and made sure he confirmed it. May have gone down in trade, though, but emilZy survives for now.
Interesting choice for Trix not to go in there. It is the correct choice. Not saying that he should die, go in and dive the tower. But he's level 7, right? And Yammyn had already dropped the window, which means the dash stun that the Thoth has that he would be afraid of, not exactly not threatening. He has to dash in the opposite direction to get the length. So we could have seen Trixtank dive that tower, kill EmilZy, and then walk around the back end, but opting for the safe play. The reason I go in depth there is because Trixtank very rarely opts for the safe play, and I think it's an interesting point to note the player straying away from his traditional tendencies.
I will say, Variety in the solo lane playing Athena is probably my favorite solo lane Athena because he gets involved in the action a lot earlier than most players do when they play that Athena solo lane. He's always looking to get involved and help find a small win on the map for his team. Variety's a more established player and arguably a better player than Divios is right now, but I draw the comparison because they have fantastic map awareness, they have fantastic team fight awareness, and Divios, one of the things that makes him different than other solo laners is he upgrades his teleport hyper early. He's TPing to wards on the left side of the map at 4 minutes. And that's what it feels like when I watch Variety play on the Athena. He's always making the impact across the map. And if you're going to do this pick, that's what you got to do. Well, he's going to use his ult for escape this time round as the gank came in from the Susano. Adapting was there on point with maniaKK. Variety has to take a trip back to base. No teleport available. So this blue buff could be stolen away on the right-hand side. Mid lane, though, bit of aggression going on and adapting on the rotation.
Meanwhile, Cullen looking for the blue buff invade, like the choice for maniaK. Everybody else dealing with some nonsense, so he opts for the steal. Nice job, QvoFred, a bad spot, adapting here as well.
That's a terrible spot for Qvo to be in. Actually went deeper in the pit and realized he's more awkward. Forced to use his ultimate. That's not going to be available now. Variety going to return some damage, but he still lost that blue on the right-hand side, even though he escaped.
EmilZy here. In a little bit of trouble, now in a lot of bit of trouble as the jungler shows up. Goomba Stomp not good enough, but locked up. Yammyn looking for the escape, can't find it. Zyrhoes on top.
But the good pull from adapting puts Qvo in an awkward spot, and Qvo falls down. maniaK rotates mid, gets the beads, and blows Zyrhoes up.
maniaK here on the Cullen. maniaK is one of the most exciting solo laners to watch, and I feel like he was silent in the spring split.
He wasn't overly... I think it was God choices more than anything else. They've kind of made him more feel lackluster.
I always saw the Sobek do work, but we didn't see this type of aggression.
The Warriors.
And that's what he... like.
Well, Amaterasu, same thing.
It's funny. maniaK caught the sight of the pros once upon a time from playing off-meta healers.
Yep.
And played the Aphrodite, played them aggressively, built them for power. That was really exciting. And then, well, you couldn't really play that stuff at that point in time, and he was forced to adjust. And a lot of players fall out of the scene. He adjusted and became this just, I'm always in your face. I'm the European Omega, and it's been a lot of fun watching his career go that direction.
It's actually really funny because those two solo laners specifically have been around since the dawn of the SPL, and both went through similar sort of transitions. Variety was a healer main, so was maniaK in that solo lane. Variety went for Jean-Qui.
Yeah.
But then, you know, maniaK, he went for the Osiris's. That's kind of how it worked out. Qvo under pressure again, forced to hold defensively, tries to get a little bit of a chain off there with the power now, but didn't find a home that time round. Red buff taken down, given over to Arkkyl. Still 4-4, still even on gold. Experience, even by the looks of that right there, yeah, 600, nothing.
Play more Jean-Qui.
So tight. Well, next patch he probably will.
Play more Jean-Qui in general. This is a PSA to the fans at home.
Next week, we will see a lot of Jean-Qui.
Trixtank left side, looking for Yammyn one more time. There's
Trix
the
is
cage.
having a great game.
Yeah.
Trix is doing work. He's keeping EmilZy and Yammyn busy every single time, and the chicken is in trouble all the time, but he's going to escape for now. Trix still after it, and he sets up Arkkyl for the kill.
Off
now
from the left-hand side, in comes the Horseman. Variety finds the last hit. 6 kills to 4. Team Dignitas find 2 in that exchange, and the Hunter will start the objective.
Really good work from Trixtank there, honestly. He's just consistently causing EmilZy a problem. EmilZy doesn't really know how to handle this Odin. And at the same time, he's trapping Yammyn into an awkward spot too, because Yammyn's like, all right, what are we going to do against this guy? I mean, he's just going to put a ring around us and I'm going to die again.
The last time EmilZy saw a play like this, his name was emilitoo. Trixtank is pulling out vintage Trixtank right now. Just, I'm the warrior, I'm in your face, deal with me. Dude, oh man, it's bringing a tear to my eye.
It's great because he's combining with variety, which is a combo we don't talk much about, variety Trixtank. But in this given scenario, the Odin-Athena combo is really paying dividends for Dignitas in these early stages on shutting down the Toth, which is the real focal point.
After the spring LAN, you and I went out with the Dig Boys. People certainly saw pictures of us going out with the Dig Boys. And one thing that I took away from that was these guys, it's interesting when you watch them play, they get hot-headed and they certainly yell at each other. That is a reality. They definitely disagree.
I like it.
And that hot blood is their plus and minus. But afterwards, these guys are really, really good friends. And I think that's what keeps this team so successful is the fact that Zyrhoes can just bark at you and then turn around and buy you a shot. And I think that's really important for how Dignitas succeed.
And you're funny enough, looking at NRG, they're starting to become a little bit more like a family themselves too. A couple of them now living in a gaming house together. Something we've seen out of Splice and previous teams before, like the likes of
who's that actually? I'm unfamiliar with who's living together.
Oh really? EmilZy, Yammyn, and I believe emilitoo all have a gaming house together now in Spain.
I did see Yammyn was traveling. He asked me about some spots in Valencia because I spent some time after.
I know it's those
DreamHack
three
there.
because emilZy's the one that has to do all the Spanish translations because he's the only one learning it. And him and Yammyn laugh about leaving emilitoo to deal with deliveries from Spanish people when emilitoo doesn't understand what's going on.
emilitoo is.
Did you not know they live together?
I did not know that,
Yeah.
but no part of that little story surprises me.
It doesn't at all, but it shows that NRG are trying to get the sort of chemistry, the same sort of level that you want from these teams.
And it's not something that NRG has always succeeded on. NRG has generally had some cult of personality issues, and seeing them make these steps to sort of do that, Hindu, I think that is the next step for NRG.
emilitoo gets soloed. There's not much you can say to that. I mean, he only had beads available, though. Arkkyl had beads and Aegis up. He saw a window and went, "Hi, I'm Hachiman. I have a horse, you have a ball. What's better?"
Oh, Arkkyl. Arkkyl is, for my North Americans in the chat, Arkkyl is Kawhi Leonard for me. He's a cool, calm, collected, relatively quiet individual that is just so much better than you.
There's an issue with Arkkyl in this game, though. Look at the level. Look at the level. He's 3 levels above emilitoo now. I just saw Adaptive walk up to the lane and go, "I can protect this," and then he went, "Hang on a second.
No thanks.
This dude is 4 or 5 levels
He's
above
level
me."
17!
Yeah, they've left Hachiman unchecked for a little while and farming up.
And that has everything to do with Trixtank's wild ride. Yeah. He's just out there. He doesn't have to be, and that's one of the luxuries that you have with a hunter like Arkkyl is that, and part of that makes me think of where he came from, starting on Myrmidons, right, on really low-end teams. When you play on bad teams, you learn how to lose lane gracefully. You learn how to be out there without a lifeline because nobody's coming, because nobody's good enough to help you. Mogau's not helping you, Arkkyl. I'm sorry. So understanding where he comes from, you can leave him there and he goes, "Okay, I'll figure this out. I can do this, no problem."
Cheeky Pyromancer attempt from Dignitas, recognizing they've got a bit of a window. emilZy, the first one to show up, but by the time he gets here, it's already down, and now they have to be careful. Trixtank straight away, looking for the chicken once more, and Yammyn like, no, I'll go back to the safety of my tower. I'm looking towards maniaKK and adapting now because Yammyn's behind, emilitoo's behind. It's going to have to be one of those two that really start to step up and try and bring this game back.
All tricks. All tricks. Trixtank.
Yeah. He's causing so many problems.
Yeah, it's just been all Trixtank. Oh my goodness, and this is a really positive thing if you're a Dignitas fan at home because Trixtank has been good, great, sure, but he hasn't had these games. And these games are what made Trixtank such a valuable asset for his teams in the past. And we haven't seen this.
You know why? He's a warrior.
Sure.
Trix is always good in warriors. Like the Guardians, he can play some defensive ones pretty well, but warriors has always been his standout play. Adapting ain't way more damage than he bargained for there. Ooh.
Ooh, QvoFred, you can get aggressive here, but it's the marriage of two things. It's Trixtank, and I love when players do this, both invade and get aggressive. QvoFred looking for EmilZy? Not the case.
Well, it's around the red buff, though, and this red buff is important to try and take away from Yammyn. Not just experience, but the extra power he'll get from that if they can steal it away. This time round.
Nice job, Yammyn.
be the case. Yammyn gets his red buff, and Gold Fury looms as maniaK rotating towards mid, looking to pressure Zyrhoes.
Keeping Zyrhoes out of this fight right now, but 3 players from Dig jump over the wall. maniaK with a great knockup, but here comes Variety as well. Ring dropped, and 2 players grabbed up by the Palau.
Very deep from Dignitas to chase for a Kullen at level 18. Now it's actually a turnaround because NRG have counter-attacked, and they've rotated around beautifully. Variety is dead, and it's a pick for NRG.
Bad fight from Dignitas. Just a bad fight. 3 players jump over the wall. They're out of range of getting the kill. First of all, fantastic positioning from maniaK, knowing that players are in the jungle and shifting over to the right side of the lane so he doesn't take the jump damage. Wonderful play. Dignitas have to say, we didn't get him, leave.
When they got the ult out of maniaK, that should have been it.
Yes.
But instead, they hit sprint, they went aggressive, and NRG went, yo, they're still going for him. All right, let's fight. And fight works out great for NRG. Not only was it a kill, but the Gold Fury, which is very important with how that game was going in Dignitas' favor up to that point.
That is the prime example. I've got another one of those annoying catchphrases. Play your lead, but don't let the lead play you. When you're ahead, you have to be aggressive. You have to make use of that lead. You're above the opposition. This is a MOBA. You've got gold, spend it, and step on them. But don't let your lead trick you into thinking that you're invincible. That was Team Dignitas saying we're ahead by like 4,000 gold, but they felt like they were ahead by like 10,000 because of how well Trixtank has been done. They got fooled by themselves, and they played directly in the hand of NRG.
It's funny because the one thing I'm happy about Dignitas is even though they had those issues against Rival in the finals at Masters, they're still up to the same sort of business, you know? Still happy to try and make those calls, those game-winning moments that are 50-50 shots sometimes, if not 20-80 shots sometimes. They're still going for them and acting the same way. But after that last engagement, they are still in the lead, granted, but the difference is they've got to be more careful now.
Oh, EmilZy jumps forward instead of backwards.
He got his ult up in time, he just came back up, but he'll still go down to the bleed of Quvo. Quvo in the sky now with the Paula, but adapting took out Zyrhoes, and that's a big pick.
Meanwhile, maniaK gonna separate himself. QvoFred in trouble, can't get on out of there.
Good jump.
Nice job.
Oh, but adapting to the backline, looking to clean
he moved!
He will get the kill just in time, and adapting may look for more. He wanted some squishier targets. He only found the frontline members there. But NRG come out 2 for 1 in the exchange. Support for mid and jungle. Yes, please.
A lot of times I err on the side of giving the player the credit. I don't like to say that X player killed Y player, but it's just because Y player made a mistake, right? QvoFred dies there because he made a mistake. Stormkata is a 360-degree ability. QvoFred had a sliver of HP. He did a great job of avoiding the original nonsense from adapting. Adapting goes under the tower looking for the jungler. QvoFred steps away like he in the Matrix. Good job, homie. But then he jumps back on him knowing that adapting 1 is under a tower, so he's definitely going to use Stormkata to get out of there, which means it's a 360-degree ability, which means QvoFred's in melee range, which means QvoFred killed himself. That was just a mental misstep by QvoFred to kill himself on Adapting's escape. Adapting didn't even plan on hitting Quvo with that. He was just trying to get out of the tower.
Just get out of the tower, and you thought the gank had failed there. I do like Yammyn, though, here. I mean, he died 3 times early, but he's already recognized, all right, I'm the talk of the town. I'm the focus. So immediately goes for an early Magi's cloak here after getting his boots and Chronos pendant, foregoing the extra pen that you always want at that point. But it does mean he's surviving longer now. These taunts from Variety are going to be not as impactful because he's going to burn the Magi's cloak first of all. There's not that much CC, hard CC, lockdown CC that is going to burn that Magi's cloak.
No surprise for me. Yammyn is one of the most consistent players hard stop. One of the most consistent players on his team. Yammyn when you watch NRG, almost everybody has a bad game every now and then. They're not gods. But Yammyn, that is the rarest occasion.
The funny enough with NRG, the whole thing is the Pyromancer goes down for Dignitas and EmilZy jumps in. Variety's a little bit far forward here and could get turned on. The hammer drops down from EmilZy. maniaK going for salmon fish in and knock up Trixtank round the corner, adapting with the tornado towards Zyrhoes. The apple didn't do much to help Zyrhoes out of the danger zone there. He's still under pressure.
Zyrhoes going to dodge out some of the nonsense from Thoth. Meanwhile, maniaK very low, but he takes out QvoFred.
Oh, the bleeds won't be enough for QvoFred to find the kill in trade for that. So just the jungler down from Dignitas. NRG find a win again. I keep saying NRG find a win because that's what's happened for the last few minutes.
maniaKK also has a 360-degree ability that deals damage. QvoFred also jumped on maniaKK when he was very, very low. And guess what? He also died to the 360-degree ability.
He was so close, though.
That one was different story.
He's also level 16 to level 20 there, but yeah, you're right in the grand scheme. Fire Giant started up by NRG. Only variety with his ultimate available. That's not going to be impactful for this fight. And maybe a game back from base, that's about it. In comes Trix, in comes variety, and Arkkyl, but adapting straight on Zyrhoes.
Meanwhile, Mage going to dance in the cloud for a second. Here's trouble for Variety as he's surrounded, but EmilZy just looking for the mid lane Mage. Variety with a giant taunt. Huge play from the solo lane.
Look at Yammyn just covering both options. He's going to sit in the choke point, wait patiently in the back. No aggressive dashes in to try and find stuns for his teammates and CC chains. Just sits there, provides artillery fire at the back, playing very safe.
High key. Yammyn's one of my favorite players in the Pro League. Just love to watch this dude play. He's so damn good. He's so incredible.
He's all right.
Nah, I'm not letting you do that.
I'm doing the bit, you know?
I'm not letting you do that. Yammyn is consistent
He'll get
for
a big
years.
Head. He'll get a big head.
The
chippy head?
The chip, yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't have that one, guys. 8-8, though. Fire Giant still alive. GoldFury has respawned, been up for a little while now, but no attention paid to it just yet. EmilZy going to rotate over there, more than likely. Drop a ward down. See the Arkkyls are up too. Yammyn getting his red buff. This game has been awkward again, but we're back to an even game. Dignitas had a lead, about 5k at one point in time, but it's been whittled away by the last couple of fights that have gone in NRG's favor.
And I think this is to be expected to a certain extent. Team Dignitas had a wondrous lead in the early game because of prowess coming out from Trixtank and attention being paid to Zyrhoes, or excuse me, to Yammyn.
Yeah.
So early game Odin succeeding? Oh, yeah, of course. Early game Thoth floundering? Oh, yeah, of course. But as we shift to the mid and now more realistically into the late game, Hindu, Yammyn's gonna, yeah, you killed him 3 times, but he's still able to step up and build the damage. He's still able to do it.
Outside of that solo kill, Arkkyl got an emilitoo, though. emilito's been a bit less unchecked this game, too. And he's slowly creeping up to level 20, nearly stacked up that rage as well, building his itemization nicely. Artemis is about to start swinging harder. And I think Dig are going to have to recognize that and make sure they don't just leave that unchecked too.
Exactly. That's something that Dignitas have to be aware of. That Tusky is going to be very, very annoying once the Hunter starts to be a little bit more offensive. Artemis has been sitting all the way in the back line. Now if Artemis steps up, if Artemis starts to deal some of the, get really dirty, then that Tusky's going to be a problem.
EmilZy took way more damage than he really demanded there as an engagement from maniaKK to try and slow down the aggression onto EmilZy comes into play. EmilZy healing up though, so he won't be too bad, but a couple of ultimates traded out there. maniaK's for Arkkyls, surprisingly enough.
Transcendence being started here by adapting in the late game. Like this choice.
Extra damage, cooldown.
Extra damage and the cooldown is nice. The stacks on Transcendence are not super relevant. They do have a little bit of involved, but it's really just about the mana pool that you've got. So I do like this because he has, so because it synergizes with the Heartseeker and the Crusher, both of those items amplify the damage you are going to be dealing and your power, right? That's how they work off of it. So you get the Transcendence later and actually provide extra damage for those extra procs.
It's also a bit of a game plan as well as the game goes on, because the junglers will still let Blessing at the start of the game, and the way they sustain is by killing camps. When you don't have that, you don't get the mana back, you don't get the health back. By going Transcendence, you're getting that MP5 and having a bigger mana pool to spam the abilities, which is Susano's base and abilities.
Exactly. He's one of the bigger spammers in the game. With this wave of minions, Dignitas might be able to enter the threshold of the tower. Big taunt onto EmilZy. It's going to cut him down to 20.
Very, very low. He still has his ultimate available, trying to hold on to it and base as quick as possible. But this tier 1 tower will go down, hopefully, because Trixtank has zoned them away. Phantom used in that engagement by NRG.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good win.
That is a gigantic win. Because a lot of times what we see teams do when they strip relics or they strip ultimates, I'm going for this kill. Oh, we used the ult. All right, he gets away, but at least we got the ultimate, right?
Oh. They had to reset the pyro there because Yammyn turned up. He did have his Magi's Cloak burn, and the ult comes through. They reset the perfect time to avoid the damage from Yammyn.
Not good enough.
It, but it's not.
NRG take it anyway, despite the wonderful play coming out from Team Dignitas. Better stuff from NRG.
good work from maniaKK to keep the pressure going on the front line too. Variety forced back to base. Has the Athena ultimate though, and NRG did the damage in the engagement. They got the Pyromancer, which shouldn't have been theirs. That was a dirty steal.
Going to go back to that play in mid lane. Because it's going to impact the very near future, that relic will still be on cooldown. 96 seconds left on EmilZy's Phantom. So I was saying how when you strip a relic or an ultimate from a player, it's usually like, well, we tried to get the kill, but we came up short. They didn't try to get that team fight. That was a zoning mechanism. That was a zoning ring. Nobody wanted to kill the players. They could have sat in that ring, twiddled their thumbs, and then walked home and got a kebab on the way. Nobody cared that you were in the ring. You used the Phantom for no reason, homie. Now, next time, when the Phantom comes out and Dig actually want to fight you, you're going to wind up with hot sauce on your face.
Good enough, though. Good news, though. Yammyn does have his Magi's Cloak back available. It was just come off cooldown, and he's going to need that because if Variety gets the taunt off and he doesn't have that Magi's Cloak, that ring's going to drop and he's not going to get a chance to escape.
The beautiful thing about having Athena on your side, though, he's going to taunt it off.
Yep. Well,
he's just going to walk up and taunt and walk away.
But it's a window of opportunity then, because the taunt's on cooldown, the cloak has been burned, sure, but it's a window where Athena's not as impactful.
And the scary part is, it's so much less about that. That's a big point, but what's scarier is for Variety, when he goes up to strip your Magi's, adapting pulls you. And you are way out of position, and you think you're being cheeky, stripping bubbles, but now you're in the back.
From Trix onto Yammyn, ring is down, no Phantom available. QvoFred to the sky, trying to get the damage off with the power low. Does find Yammyn, but beads were available. Meanwhile, maniaKK can adapt and go to the back line.
Not a good fight for Team Dignitas. Two spread out, but emilitoo's going to make sure they spend some time together. Zero's back in the fountain the hard way at the hand of the Hunter, and QvoFred could be next. He's got to find a target for the jump, but he won't. And King Kenneth puts him down.
Went too deep again, and that's what happened. Trix initiates, gets the ring on Yammyn, but no one's in range to follow up. NRG, meanwhile, adapted is using his ultimate really well, by the way.
Yes, extremely well.
The use of that Susano ult to channel it early and then position it to cut off escape routes and catch them all grouped together is allowing NRG to go, all right, all in, find the kills.
And that's what Dignitas need to do. They need to make everybody group up, but NRG are too smart for that. You saw when the ring came down, Yammyn dashed left, EmilZy dashed down, somebody else dashed right. Everybody went in different cardinal directions. Team Dignitas don't have that sort of cohesion.
I don't know what it is about NRG versus Dignitas, but for some reason it just feels like NRG always manage to make Dig make mistakes and punish them heavily for it. Now they're trying to punish them at the Phoenix and will do so, taking that down before they lose a single member.
Easy. NRG made that play look easy. And sieging a Phoenix, sure, you've got Fire Giant. Sieging a Phoenix with an Odin, an Athena, and a Discordia is not easy. And Dignitas made it look easy. Or excuse me, NRG made it look easy. Well, how is that allowed?
Well, now they can fall back, get the gold Fury. A couple of tier 2 towers still remain too. The gold will go into their favor, and just like game 1, we were like, Dignitas had the lead in this game, and now they don't. 5K at one point, now it's 10K in reverse. NRG coming up big in the team fights every time and then getting stuff afterwards.
Thinking out loud here. Arkkyl on the Hachiman. Hachiman is a character that excels at all moments of the game, early, mid, and late. That's how we usually split up our hunters. But there are hunters that are better early, there are hunters that are better mid, there are hunters that are better late. Arkkyl tore this one up, and I think you can make the argument that part of the rationale or part of the reasoning was the fact that he was playing Hachiman, so he has that prowess in the early and the mid game.
Sure.
But when I watch Team Dignitas here, Arkkyl had a fantastic game, but the Artemis is translating better than the Hachiman. Would it be worse to find another late game hunter to put Arkkyl on? That is a question I pose to the audience to ask amongst your friends, because I honestly don't know.
I mean, the options really are. If Juggle was banned and Artemis taken, it's what, Rama is the only one I can think of?
You've got Ram.
But Hou-Yi's more of a mid game than super late. Tier 2 in the mid goes down. Tier 2 on the left will also follow suit. NRG, though, not done just yet. They've already spent a bit of that gold, so they're going to look for a siege on the left-hand side.
Zyrhoes around the corner, like his positioning there, finds the 3-person strife.
But that's all he's after. He's just trying to do that over and over again. Whittle down the health bars.
Sure.
Magi's Blessing gone on maniaKK. Magi's Blessing gone on Yammyn. What's good, bud?
And that where's the taunt is what we're after from Variety next then. Variety will be looking for them. He's going to wait for the right window. Obviously, NRG, very experienced, recognize not to group as a whole, but he's going to get Yammyn.
Variety blinks on the back line, but Zyrhoes going to be focused by maniaKK. emilitoo takes care of QvoFred. maniaKK's dash gets caught by the ring, and he's going to fall down to the tower.
Final judgment used by Yammyn there. Didn't really find a home on a target they were after. But the focus of the Phoenix is actually working out. Variety back in the fray. Trixtank too low to go aggro. And now that's going to bring Adapted in to try and clean up the remnants.
Trixtank barely gets on out of there, adapting as well. Left side Phoenix still alive. Variety and Arkkyl relatively healthy. Arkkyl can't die.
That took a lot of damage as he steps on the trap, but the trap will get him out just in time away from it. Just in time, but Variety's going to go down to emilitoo. Tricks in, but surrounded by 4.
Zyrhoes is here, and that's all he can do is toss out one unruly. Down goes the left side Phoenix. NRG aren't going to go for the boss just yet. They saw the mistake Team Dignitas made in game number 1.
I think they can do this.
They're being careful about it, which I respect.
Oh, Arkkyl making sure you show him more respect than that. Takes out emilZy, but he goes down in trade. And that's up to Zyrhoes now against 3 damage dealers on NRG. This is game.
Hey, the Titan's dead, by the way.
Yeah. The firemen just did all the work for them. They just sat and watched it go down.
Sorry for killing the
2
hype
games.
towards the end of that one.
It was weird, right? But
that was just a weird ending.
2 games to NRG where Dignitas led both times.
Yeah, out of control. This one, I feel like I've seen too many of these games from Team Dignitas where Arkkyl does a ton of the heavy lifting but isn't able to finish it off. Less of a comment about Arkkyl not being able to do it, and more of a comment about maybe his teammates need to lift this hunter up a little bit more. I mentioned that Arkkyl succeeds in that long lane by himself. Trixtank walks away and everything. That works out for the early and mid game. Late game, protect that hunter because Arkkyl was at the top of the player damage, doing all the heavy lifting, and Dig wind up short.
Dig always been an aggressive squad. You guys, though, at home get to choose who was MVP from NRG's point of view. A lot of members to talk about there, in all fairness. I think Adapt's had a very good game, even though we didn't mention his name too much. Those ultimates were so important.
I want to actually rewind to game number 1 and just straight up apologize to emilZy. We were sitting here trying to figure out who was MVP, and I think it was obvious that emilZy was MVP after those defenses. Game number 2, different story. Like I said, Trixtank ran the early game. I'm really looking a lot at the Thoth play. I'm really looking a lot at the jungler.
Dig falls down again. Let's head over to the desk to break down that set.
Well, NRG continue their ways of kind of dominating Dignitas here this season so far. I think that makes them 6-1 up against Dignitas, who they just kind of happen to have their number. And Adapting looked as good as ever on that Susano. Missed only 1 kill when he had to go back and heal off those Harpies, man. He was everywhere on the map.
Doesn't surprise me. This is a guy that likes to make the plays happen. He doesn't even get pressured, honestly. Like, he doesn't feel the pressure, rather, every time that his team calls upon him to make those kinds of plays, which makes him such a high-caliber player and very fearful on the enemy side. Dignitas are on the receiving end of it, and honestly, whether or not Adapting got into their heads, it seemed like Dignitas were in their own heads. I'm looking back at that Pyromancer attempt, which was snatched away for them around that 28-minute mark, where NRG invested 3 ultimates. It was a Typhoon, the Final Judgment, the Boar out of emilitoo, and there was no response from Dignitas. They didn't fight. The only thing they used was an Odin cage. They had all their ultimates ready.
And that can happen sometimes when you're in your own head. Instead of recognizing, sure, we lost the Pyromancer, but we have a fight, they kind of just said, even though we did everything right, we didn't confirm it, and they left. And that could have been a situation where maybe they could have punished NRG a little bit for their own overcommit. But in the end, Mixer Chat, you all have made your voices heard. It is going to be Adapting, who is your MVP, and I think that one is well earned off an impressive play he had there with the Sasana.
Yeah, 9.5 KDA. Those are some MVP numbers. The damage to follow suit. And speaking of damage, Yammyn also brought quite a lot of damage despite being shut down in the earlier process. He was sitting at 0-3 for quite a long time, but because of just his long-range artillery playing the Thoth, he was able to still provide any sort of assistant damage.
Yammyn did such an excellent job following up on the setup, and they talked a little bit about EmilZy's plays there on the Fafnir. You and I were talking about how, you know, there was a lot of good options still available at Guardian. I think Terra went unbanned, and they still go to this Fafnir. Well, we kind of saw why. EmilZy was setting up for the team and getting it done.
emilitoo was doing a good job with the assistance of the Fafnir, doing everything that he could in his own power, and that's what NRG are really good about doing. It's like not necessarily about the best pick that's in the current meta, because yes, Terra was still available, and a lot of teams will heavily prioritize the Terra to the point that it's banned away in the first 4 bans. But instead, NRG are relying on their late game team composition, pick the Fafnir to synergize with the Artemis.
Now, NRG, again, were able to get that victory over Dignitas, but don't forget, NRG already lost earlier to Obey, and that's kind of what their Achilles heel ended up being in their quest to try and make it to land. So they've got to make sure they're picking up every victory they can, but they continue to beat Dignitas, who now has dropped a set after their good start against Rival.
Well, that's only, you know, the first week in the books for Dignitas and NRG. They still have about 5 more weeks to go to see how things pan out for them. But if that's going to be a reoccurring theme, then Dignitas, they will make it to the land again, with as long as that they can continue to beat out Rival and everyone else. If they only lose to NRG, Dignitas are still in a good spot, but they need to overcome their ghosts if they ever encounter them again, whether it's online or at LAN.
Yeah, there's something about it, man. Maybe just pretend, change the schedule, right? If you're coaching for Dignitas, be like, yeah, y'all are just playing Rival this week, and just don't tell them and let them just play up against NRG, something like that. But we still got plenty more SPL action. It's going to be Mouse going up against Team Rival, so we're taking a quick break. We'll be right back with you.
Can I push back work?
No, I guess.